Tata Motors has really been moving the CNG game forward of late. It started off with the Altroz iCNG last year, and it brought in Tata's innovative dual-cylinder technology that placed the tanks below the boot floor so that you could get some proper usable boot space. And then it was also launched in top spec trim, which meant that you didn't have to miss out on features just to get CNG. And now Tata has pushed the envelope even further by launching this, which is the Tiago CNG AMT. And this is the first CNG car to be available with an automatic gearbox right from factory. And this is what it's like to drive.
But before we proceed, don't forget to subscribe to the Autocar India YouTube channel and click the bell icon to get notified every time we make an upload.
So I'm gonna start off by doing a fuel efficiency test. Just a disclaimer, however, this won't be to Autocar standards as we don't have the car for long enough, but it will still give you a representative idea of what you can expect from the Tiago CNG AMT out in the real world. So I've brimmed up the tank, the trip meter has been reset, and I'll get back to you by the end of the shoot with the fuel efficiency figure. So the engine and gearbox is something that we are already familiar with. It is the same 1.2 litre 3-cylinder engine that does duty in the Tiago and the Tigor, and it puts out 73 horsepower and 95 Newton meters in CNG. And it's mated to a 5-speed automated manual transmission.
This engine is naturally aspirated and puts out a higher 86 horsepower and 113 Newton meters when running on petrol.
This 3-cylinder engine isn't the most refined around, and it is not particularly peppy as well, but it is very nice and linear in its power delivery. When you drive at a leisurely pace with light throttle inputs, the difference between CNG and petrol is honestly not that much.
There is a dip in the mid-range, but responses both off the line and at path throttle are decent and will easily keep up with the flow of traffic.
However, when you are being heavy-footed and you want to make that quick overtake, you will feel the lack of urgency in CNG mode. Now, this is the sort of environment where the Tiago CNG Automatic really feels at home, in city traffic. The automatic gearbox takes the pain and stress away of you having to change gears constantly in traffic. And the CNG also means that you enjoy lower running costs and it's greener for the environment as well. I mean, sure, it's not gonna wow you with its performance, but for someone who just wants to commute from point A to point B in jam-packed traffic, this one is more than adequate.
The gearbox has that typical AMT head knot when shifting, but it is eager to downshift and keep the engine in the meat of the power band, which is good.
What's nice though is that you do get the option of manually shifting gears via the Tiptronic function on the gear lever. Now let's talk about some of the CNG tech that this car has on offer. Unlike many of its competitors, the Tiago CNG can be directly started in CNG mode.
This helps conserve some petrol at startup. It also comes with certain CNG specific safety features. There's a fire extinguisher under the passenger seat, the car won't start when the fuel filler flap is open, and it'll also cut off CNG supply and release the gas into the atmosphere if it detects a leak in the system. Tata also recommends that you drive 10 km in petrol mode for every 300 km you drive in CNG. This is to ensure the proper working of the petrol fuel system.
Furthermore, the dual tank setup under the boot floor also means that there's some properly usable boot space. Sure, it's not as large as the petrol-powered Tiago, but it's still okay enough for some small bags. The capacity is set at 107 litres.
The full CNG capacity is set at 60 litres, which is split into two tanks, and will typically take on 8 to 10 kilograms of CNG depending on pressure.
And with the tank situated under the boot floor, that also brings up the question of the spare wheel. Well, don't worry, Tata have thought about that as well. This still gets a spare wheel, but it's mounted under the car and it can be released by loosening a bolt in the boot floor. And as before, ride and handling also remains a strong suit of the Tiago. Now with the CNG, Tata have retuned the suspension, but you'll hardly be able to tell the difference. It still soaks up bumps with ease and it feels really confidence-inspiring and stable at higher speeds.
It gets a stiffer spring rate and higher damping force at the rear to compensate for the additional 110 kg this car hauls. The steering also strikes a good balance between being light and feelsome, and the body control around bends is tidy. Tata is offering it in two trims, including the near top spec XZ Plus. This means you miss out on barely any features.
You still get this 7-inch touchscreen infotainment with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, a Harman sound system, rear wash wipe, auto adjustable and foldable mirrors, height adjustable driver seat and much more. In terms of interior differences to the regular Tiago, there's not much to report. You do get this CNG button in the center console and you get two fuel gauges, one for CNG and one for petrol.
The Tiago has a spacious cabin at the front and at the back, while the fit finish is acceptable for the price. The body-colored surrounds on the outer AC vents do a good job of sprucing up this cabin, however. Exterior changes are also limited to the badges. There's an iCNG badge on the boot, a 50 lakh cars milestone badge on the rear door, and a revised Tata logo at the back. The Tiago CNG AMT is being offered in 4 colors, with this Tornado Blue being a new inclusion.
So I've just finished tanking up the CNG and it has taken 3.13 kilograms for 76 kilometers. Now that comes up to 24.28 kilometers per kilogram in the real world, and that's quite nice considering the claimed is at around 28 kilometers per kilogram.
However, it's important to note that a majority of the test was done on open roads with higher average speeds. Hence, the real-world figure might be slightly lower still. Regardless, the Tiago CNG AMT's efficiency comes across as impressive, and the lower running costs, which is around a third of the petrol, only sweetens the deal further.
But despite the convenience that this automatic transmission brings, you will still have to contend with the long lines at CNG pumps when you're fueling up the car. So the Tiago CNG automatic is priced from Rs 7.9 to 8.9 lakh ex showroom, and that is around Rs 55,000 more than the CNG manual.
In comparison, the top spec Hyundai i10 Neos CNG costs Rs 8.23 lakh, while the Maruti Celerio CNG costs Rs 6.74 lakh. However, it's worth noting that neither car is offering CNG in their top trims or with an automatic gearbox. What's also nice is that this CNG auto powertrain isn't limited to just the Tiago. The Tigor compact sedan also benefits from this, and so does the cross-hatch derivative, the Tiago NRG.
Given the convenience it offers, combined with the lower running costs and the features it has on offer, the Tiago CNG automatic should definitely be on your radar the next time you're looking for an urban runabout.